Yes, this is Kendrick Bartley. I am presenting my alignment activity. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So whenever I'm looking at alignment, I do think several different things should align, such as the learning objective, the teaching strategies, the learning activities, and the assessment. Now, when talking about this, and I'm looking at the learning objective, if I'm saying the learning objective was learn how to multiply two common denominators. Well, on my assessment, I won't have a question on there, multiply these fractions with unlike denominators. So all of them should align. And if they don't align, then you're going to get inaccurate data, especially on your assessment. And you won't be able to actually tell whether your student knew the material or keep track of any growth throughout the year. So make sure that all four do align. I'm going to take you to the lesson plan that I originally did, the SEL. When looking at this lesson plan went over area and perimeter. And the lesson plan itself, so the learning goal is in this standard, students will apply their previous understanding of perimeter and area to problem situations. Students will be able to determine the area of a rectangular figure, meaning a quadrilateral, and the I can statement, I can solve area and perimeter problems of quadrilateral and rectangular shapes. So when we come to the actual lesson, um, I always introduce the area and perimeter formulas, talk about what area and perimeter is, and what we're going to focus on. And what we focus on in this lesson was find the area of rectangular shapes and finding the perimeter of rectangular shapes. Now, with their starter, I asked them to recall a time when they were mad. How did they act? If they could go back, how would they change it? And this is in blue, which is talking about the cultural piece. So the objective for the cultural response is said develop lessons that relate to students' individualized identity to improve morale in the school setting. And the SEL objective was develop self-awareness and self-management skills that will improve behavior in the class and outside the class. So here I had them to really talk about their self awareness. How are they going to cope with their anger? Do they realize that, hey, in this situation, I did not act the way I should have? And if I could go back, would I change my behavior? So here it's making them recognize that wrong behavior that they did do. So that's going back to the SEL objective and touching on that cultural responsive objective as well. So going back to whenever we're talking about the standard here, students will share their journal entries, which they did, and introduction of vocabulary. So you got to know the vocabulary for any lesson. And then we went to with the vocabulary introduction, students will create their own way of introducing the vocabulary, whether it's a rap, rhyme, or using drums. With this is going back to that culture responsive part. And this is helping a child build on who they are, what is their identity. Um, and right here it says that relate to students' individualized identity. And that's what's going on here with them making their own rhyme or rap or song or whatever with the vocabulary. To continue with the actual lesson, I said that students would draw rectangular shapes and find the area of the shape, which is going back to the regular standard, what they should be able to do after the lesson. And then I said the hands-on activities represent an area and perimeter using the cheese and crackers, which is it's hands-on, but it's also going back to the standard of teaching area and perimeter. So then they broke into their groups. In the group, students will have word problems that consist of their names and of different cultural belongings, such as find the area of the church or find the area of the particular Mexican restaurant. Here, once again, it still went back to the standard, finding the area and perimeter, but it's also hitting on that culture responsive objective over here because I'm identifying different cultures within the community. So basically, you're trying to make every individual who is consist of a different course in the class, make them feel wanted, make them feel like they play a role in the class, like they're not just there. And when I come to my assessment part, so the formative assessment is students will be able to find the area and perimeter of rectangular shapes from an assessment off of the DPI, which is the Department of Public Instruction website. So when looking at this in the particular lesson plan, all 4 aspects did go along: the learning objective, the teaching strategy, the learning activity, and the assessment. They all 4 did fit one another. So the instruction did align. That's the bottom line, really. It did align. Going on, when I go to the 4th grade standard, the 4th grade standard does say, in this standard, students will apply their previous understanding of perimeter and area to problem situations. Students will be able to determine the area of a rectangular figure. Now, here, there's a lot that goes along with the area and a perimeter standard in 4th grade. They have to find the unknown side. Sometimes they may have to find the missing length or the missing width. They do have a irregular shape that they also have to find the area and perimeter of. So that is just some of the different points that they have to do with area and perimeter in 4th grade. Now, to back it up, going to the 3rd grade standard, and this is going to help with the horizontal and vertical alignment. So going back, I wanted to see what 3rd grade did. In 3rd grade, they do a lot of area and perimeter. They do find area and perimeter of quadrilaterals, a 4-sided square or a 4-sided rectangle. They also have to find the missing side, the missing length or the missing width, also known as the unknown. And they do use a lot of arrays in 3rd grade, which builds up their multiplying skills, because you can multiply the length times the width with the array to find the area. So that's also a big factor here when we're talking about area, because with the area you do multiply. But all of those are key components with area and perimeter. And going back to perimeter, you must know how to add, or you can't find a perimeter. So there's several different aspects here to take in consideration, which we will get to here shortly. I'm talking about the vertical and horizontal alignment. Now I'm going to 5th grade. 5th grade changes. They're not so much finding the area and perimeter of a individual shapes such as a quadrilateral. They're going more into the prisms, like length times width times height. Now length times width, of course, goes back to area, but when you do length times width times height, you're doing the volume. So it's saying relate volume to the operations of multiplying and addition. Find the volume of a rectangular prism with whole number side lengths by packing it with unit cubes, and show what the volume is the same as would be found by multiplying the side edge lengths. So it does change in the 5th grade. And according to our 5th grade teachers, it gets harder. And the students struggle more in 5th grade with area and perimeter, according to the data that I have witnessed at Deep Branch, the school that I actually teach at. In 4th grade, students have a tendency to do okay on area and perimeter. 3rd grade, they do okay, but in 5th grade, they really struggle with this standard because it is new. They have never did length times width times height, so it is a new concept that they must learn. But going to the horizontal and vertical alignment, the horizontal alignment, the instruction is aligned with the standards, and not just the instruction, but it should be the learning objective, teaching strategies, the learning assignments, activities, and the assessment. It all should align. Use the same resources such as books, classroom instruction, online resources. Using the same stuff, allowing a consistency with the child is going to also help bring up those test scores that we need to see so bad in certain districts. And making sure that the learning objective, teaching strategies, learning activities, and assessments do align. So this is the horizontal alignment piece that I came up with. The vertical is where I'm going to spend a little bit more time. If it was me and this was my school, I know that area and perimeter is a little bit of a weakness in some of our grade levels. So I would really target my third, fourth, and fifth grade math teachers, and I would meet with them bi-weekly. And I would want to know, what are you teaching? How are you teaching it? How is the child receiving your instruction? Like, is there something that maybe the fifth grade teacher is doing that the third grade teacher needs to be doing to help build on build on the skills, so when they get to fifth grade, they will know what they're doing. Um, and in fourth grade will do the same thing. When they were talking about multiplying, because length times width times height, length times width, find the area, find the volume, it all surrounds around multiplying. If the child did not get a good understanding of multiplying, then they are definitely going to struggle with area. So I would want to make sure that my third grade teachers are definitely doing multiplication tables weekly, because in third grade, that's when the depth of timetables and making sure you know your multiplication tables, that's when that comes in effect. Yes, in second grade they may skip count, but in third grade is where it's really tying in. Um, so I would want to make sure my third grade teacher and my fourth grade teachers are building on the students' multiplication factors, making sure they know how to, if I'm saying 4 times 5, they know it automatically rather than having to draw circles or draw little stick people or whatever the case may be. They definitely need to know their timetables, which will improve area. Skills must be taught and mastered from grade level to grade level. So I would not want my third grade students leaving third grade going to fourth grade and still don't know their timetables. And in many cases, this is what happens, which is also a reason why they struggle with area. So my third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers, as I said, they would meet bi-weekly, and they would go over how they're teaching the instruction so all the teachers could kind of do the same thing. We would analyze the data from state tests, which we do often at our school already. That's how we know fifth grade is an area where area and perimeter is weak. Not area and perimeter, but the volume is weak. And we're thinking the volume is weak because the students really struggle with their multiplication tables in third and fourth grade. The teams, the third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers, they will communicate effectively. They would meet, and they would design a curriculum map. What each grade level, third, fourth, and fifth, should be doing to assure that the students are receiving the information or the instruction they need prior from leaving that grade level. Now, me personally, I focused on third, fourth, and fifth here, but I would also focus on first and second grade, because first and second grade is where the students are really learning to add. And of course, addition is taking place with perimeter, which they're going to do a lot of in third and fourth grade. So if the child comes to third grade and they're struggling with addition, well, that child's already behind. So therefore, that first and second grade definitely needs to make sure the child knows how to add prior from leaving that grade level. Because if the child is behind in kindergarten, if the child is behind in first grade, they have a tendency to be behind every grade level. And that's where we must stop, which comes back to this vertical alignment. Every grade level must make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing before that child leaves that school, or excuse me, leave that grade level. And I would stop there. So that's how I would do my horizontal and vertical alignment with this particular standard. So thank you.